Hello and welcome to Leviathan News. Today is May 21st. Today's a celebratory day.
Yeah, a whole new market.
Yeah. I'm Samuel McCullough and I'm joined here with DeFi Advisor.
Hello, sir. How are you? An honor
Good.
to be here with you again.
I'm good. My bags doing a lot better than they were yesterday or 2 days ago.
Yeah, no, even from yesterday, no, like I think that even after our streams yesterday, I was like out of the house yesterday, nighttime here, and I don't know, watching at local stuff and whatever, and all of a sudden I see that there's a bankless emergency stream. I'm just seeing the word approved and ETH ETF, and I'm like, okay, what's going on? Entering the X, and I'm seeing that, okay, the market is completely different from where I left it off like 2 or 3 hours earlier even.
Yeah. And all of it is based on the ETH ETF, which apparently is going to get approved. We're not approved this week. So there's two parts to it. There's this 19B4 form, which has to be approved. And then there's also one form as well, too. And that could take another few weeks. But the bigger news is just that there's been a political shift inside the Biden administration. I think the polling numbers that they were seeing for a lot of their younger cohort of voters was probably not doing so well.
For sure, man. Like, or maybe they just saw the weekly panel and listened to what Austin and the Cap had to say about it.
Well, I think a lot of people are financially conscious, and they that's their most important.
For sure. Yeah, I can imagine.
Political outcome that they care about, right? And they don't really care about Ukraine, or they don't really care about what's happening with China, but they do care about their bags, right? And
for sure, like it's the first, like even if people like admit it or not, like at the end of the day, like economy is such a huge deal for all of us, for every grown up out there.
Yeah, so I think that it's turning a lot of people into single issue voters, where they're saying, okay, you want to come after my investment, my livelihood, and
like take everything, but you're trying to take my actual portfolio after I pay you all these taxes as well. No,
exactly,
not
like you don't represent me anymore.
Yeah, not voting that. And yeah, I think it's you're touching on a very good point there, because last week, like, look at how different the sentiment was, and like also like just last week with this until the vote was repealed. That's the word, right?
Yeah. Well, it's the SAB. So we had the SAB 121 vote, which was to repeal the staff accounting bulletin that the SEC had passed, and that was really the first crack in the armor, because that was a pretty bipartisan vote in the Senate. It was 60-38, and it really showed that there was bipartisan political will to undo some of the war that the SEC has been waging against people using crypto. And so that passing kind of, I think, was a wake-up call for a lot of people that something needed to be done. And having the SEC essentially just kick the can down the road on these ETFs, which is not, I think they've seen with the Bitcoin ETF that nothing has really changed. People want access to it. And the more barriers that they put in place, they're just going to make people angry. People want to have these assets inside of their investment accounts. They want to be able to put them into their retirement accounts. They also want to have the ability for institutions to come in and purchase these assets, and enabling all of these roadblocks to be haphazardly put in place by what is, for all purposes, a politicized regulatory bodies is just not a good look, especially when you're coming into election season.
Yeah, and really, like you said earlier, like this actually, like, at least on the timeline, I remember last week on X, pretty much all I could see, like I've never seen Americans talk so much about politics like I did last week on X. And it's a good demonstration of what you're saying. Like all of a sudden, like it was like, man, like someone is trying to touch something they really don't want him to touch, and someone is like really like pressing a point the exact point they don't want him to press. And I really think that people became much more vocal about it, especially like people, I don't know, like Austin, for example. I couldn't
Mhm.
go 10 minutes without seeing a new post by Austin. Usually a post that I don't understand how can you even write in an hour. So it was kind of incredible on several aspects. But yeah, I think there was actual pushback. You know what I mean? Like at least it felt that way a bit on X, not as usual.
Well, I think that if the ETF is passed, it's going to clear up a lot of questions that have been floating around. I don't know if you remember the testimony that Gary Gensler gave before the Senate committee or the House committee a while back, but essentially they were pressing him saying like, is ETH the security? And he was like, well, like it really
You're
depends.
talking with McHenry, right?
Yeah. And like directly asking him, like, is ETH a security or not? And he's like, well, I don't know. It could be, it couldn't be. We really haven't like made a final determinant on that. And if the ETH ETF is passed, based on how the filing has done. So this morning there was an updated 19B4 from Grayscale for their Ethereum mini trust that was filed. And in that, they're actually going to be registering under a commodity-based trust shares. And so that would fully clear the air on what ETH is. It would 100% say that ETH is a commodity, it's not a security, and we would be done with this question forever if they list the ETH ETF. There's no going back.
Listen, this is like the ultimate validation in a way, no? For ETH. And by the way, you know what? After I heard this year Larry Fink talking about tokenization, then in a way I already felt that like, oh, come on, guys, like, can it be a sillier deal than that? Like, he's gonna tokenize the world on what? A private. I don't know. To me, it also like seemed that you know what? Actually, I was kind of under the thought that, you know what, maybe they will like postpone it because maybe they have like an interest. Like, for example, BlackRock, there were rumors that like BlackRock's ETF isn't ready yet. So, maybe it will be postponed to August. So for me personally, it was like, I don't know. I'm pretty sure it's happening, but like, I don't know when. I think the big surprise was that all of a sudden it became from, guys, there's no way it's happening this week, to, okay, guys, it's happening this week, like probably, like basically. And
Yeah.
And you can see that the market literally got unleashed because like it was, people said before that okay, is it priced in? Is it not priced in? And I think the market showed us yesterday that okay, it was priced in. Like like people thought it was not going to get approved.
Well, I don't think it was priced in. I think that everybody thought that there was not going to be any approval.
That's what I mean. That's why ETH was under 3K. But all of a sudden, when the rumors, like when the news switched, it was like, okay, so now people think the price of ETH is up like 25% or something like that. So that's what I'm saying. The market did price in the fact that it's not going to get approved, and all of a sudden, he had to reprice. The market had to reprice it.
Yeah.
Look at that candle, man. That's insane. So it's so good that you're putting this chart up. Look at that chart.
So we also have Dio joining. What's up?
Hey, what's up, guys? What's up? What's up? What's up?
How you doing?
Amazing! What a candle! What a candle! Yeah, me and DeFi Advisor. Like now it's night in Thailand, and we spoke this morning. It's been a great day.
Yeah, you're right. For you, it was morning. We had a space yesterday. It was night, my time, but I had to like do something. It was actually kind of fun to do a space as well. You know, in a weird way, even though spaces have less people watching them or listening to them, to be correct, they tend to get more followers. I don't understand it really.
Yeah, it was a fun space because we discussed a lot of really cool things. Yeah, I think this the Ethereum ETF approval is going to happen anyway, right? At some point, if it happens now, it's even better, right? The sooner the better, I would say. But it's definitely going to help with a lot of TVL recognition.
If you're away already, then the sooner the better. If you're not a whale, I'm not sure.
Well, I would think that we would be quickly heading towards all-time highs if the ETF was passed.
Quickly. We can do it like with the movement we saw yesterday. I think it can happen it can happen any day, basically, after what we saw yesterday.
Yeah. So the thing about the ETF is once it gets approved, we're going to see a lot of inflows as people are able to allocate towards that. And if it's anything like what happened with Bitcoin over the last year, even if we get a quarter of that, that would well send ETH beyond all-time highs, above 5,000, and hopefully towards 10,000, which I think a lot of people are expecting towards. Now, the question that I have for you guys is the ETF being approved going to bring about alt season?
For sure. 100% in my opinion.
I'm a big believer of DeFi Summer 2.0 in different ways that we have just never seen before, right? That's my take on it with staking, restaking, structured products that are going to be wrapped into actual, like kind of ETF-like products, or fixed income, an on-chain mortgage market. Like, I think we're going to see a lot of really crazy things that we have seen in the last cycle, but now actually executed in ways that it will actually reach more into the traditional financial markets that are burning with and Ethereum is just shining from a technological perspective, from a financial momentum perspective. And yeah, DeFi Summer 2.0, and I think it's going to play into the I said this before on stream, right? The DeFi blue chips are recognition of together all community been built over the years.
So here's a chart of the DeFi total market cap. We're currently sitting at about $100 billion based on the assets that TradingView is looking at here, and well below the highs of around 200 billion. So we're only about 50% off the highs. And I would think that as ETH begins to rise, there's a lot more collateral that can be used for lending, that can be used for borrowing stable coins. And, the difference between this cycle and last cycle is that these inflows are going to be sticky, is that once those funds come in to purchase ETH, it essentially is not going to be driven by leverage, which is what a lot of the last cycle was driven by. And that's a real game changer, because ETH rising as a collateral, one, it has a lot of knock-on effects for other assets that are paired against it. Like, ETH is the most popular asset to pair against pretty much anything. If you're just launching a meme coin, or if you're launching a DeFi token, or pretty much any asset on chain is going to be like paired against ETH. So the rising tide raises all boats, and I would be really interested to see how these assets compare. Like, if people start to sell them to come back to ETH and take a part in the LRT restaking, as we've seen, or if there's real demand for DeFi services as people want more loans and other ways to get leverage, and so pushing towards that.
Yeah, I agree. So much build up, like professional teams are all building years in ETH, and all these little kinks and clinks that we had in the DeFi Summer 1.0, which was very cool, very interesting. And we're gonna see that at a massive scale again, right? The amount of power, I just launched a protocol. It's very intense to launch protocols. It's not easy. And then we will just see that timestamp with all these teams that are like fresh with funding, and all the money is going to flow back into these systems, and all these teams will innovate left, right, and center. And I think we're going to see that at a very, very fast pace. And we just don't, our brains, like my brains cannot comprehend the exponential growth that we potentially can get with all those developers, all this money coming back, all that energy.
Well, I'm taking a look. So here's CoinGecko's list of the top.
Look at that, man. Look at that.
Yeah, I understand, but like, which ones do you think are going to outperform? I mean, are we? I mean, taking out the like Lido staked ETH and all the other LRT LSDs. What do you guys think are going to be the biggest beneficiaries of a large run up like this into the next cycle?
CRV, baby. I think like I think Curve as a blue chip, Curve is doing so well from just an execution perspective, and there was they're just being very clean and honest in communications and the way they're conducting themselves. Frax, I think as well, FXS, Curve, Aave. These are blue chips, right? I think that's going to rise a lot. I do think some steam will blow off of the Solana train a little bit, come back to ETH.
Really though? Because the question I have is, if ETH is approved in this short period of time and ahead of people's expectations, wouldn't the next potential ETF candidates be something like Doge or Solana?
In my opinion, it's going to be Link, actually. But Doge and Solana are great candidates as well. I actually believe, as weird as it sounds, that they will also have ETF. Even like Doge will have an ETF. I'm getting like really convinced about it. But in my opinion, the most exciting next, I'm not sure it will actually be the next one, but like I'm sure a Chainlink ETF is happening, in my opinion, at some point, like for sure.
I don't think so. I think that it's still Chainlink's quite far down in the list at the moment. I think that they're sitting at a $10 billion market cap.
But they have the connections, I actually think it will actually be curious to watch.
I think
Who do you think is the next?
I think from what we've seen, like all of the ETFs that have been approved, or at least Bitcoin and now soon to be ETH, these are commodity-based assets. And I think there's questions around. There would be more questions around Link, as if it would be a commodity or not. So you could probably easily make the argument that something like Solana is a commodity, or that like Doge is a commodity as well too, because it shares a lot of characteristics with Bitcoin. So I can see an argument for that. But outside,
the Solana Foundation advertising on Reddit for developers and stuff.
Well, but that's a little different, right? I mean, I think that you can advertising for developers is not like a bad thing, right?
No.
But the questions really arise like once you get deeper into the top 50 list of like, a lot of these projects essentially ran initial token sales. They have high VC control. And if you're looking at something like, I don't know, Toncoin, which is number 10, I don't think that would ever get ETF status in the next 5 years at least.
I mean, what happened to Ton, right? He got this huge lawsuit. So
yeah,
restart that.
Yeah. So, like Doge and Solana are probably the best situated here.
I will make the counter argument for Solana there.
And Solana.
Doge, maybe that would be the most funniest outcome, and then Elon Musk.
I think Rex on the comments is raising a good point. Like Solana, is Solana really a commodity? Wasn't it like an official sale of it? How does that side of things go? I remember that we used to learn that like all the VCs bought it and sold it. No, that's like at least when I watched the All In podcast, they used to joke about it a lot.
Yeah, but I think this is what the issue at hand is going to be. Is they're going to have, like, once you start moving past BTC and ETH, you're going to have to really take a look at the history of how these assets were issued, who's holding them, and what that means for potential ETF listing, if there's ever going to be one in the future. Yeah, and John has a good point here. There's not going to be any more ETFs until next year. ETH and BTC already had futures ETFs, and the courts already ruled that you can't approve one without the other. So that is a really good point. And
yeah, I don't think it's going to be this year as well, but like any other. But who knows? Honestly, who knows?
Does it have a futures market? And also these assets are a lot smaller as well too. I mean, we're looking at a massive difference between the size of of Ethereum versus the size of Solana. Ethereum's currently sitting at near a $500 billion market cap, while Solana is not even over 100 billion.
But by the way, like, how big was the market cap of Bitcoin when it got its ETF, and how big is like ETH is small at a smaller market cap? It's going to get its ETF compared to Bitcoin, right?
I think there was rumblings for the ETF around what 35,000 or so. So that would have been a $500 billion market cap as well too.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think we've probably seen the generational bottom of ETH BTC.
Yeah, you think?
Yeah.
Forever?
I mean,
I tend to agree. I tend to agree. Like, but for me personally, like, I don't ever understand like why ETH is not appreciating faster than Bitcoin, at least usually. But you know, narrative-wise, actually, it made sense that Bitcoin really pulled things these past few months. But yeah, if they both have an even play field, I don't think Bitcoin has any chance. But
well, it's not it's any chance. I mean, I just think that the
no, in growing to the same pace. I mean, like ETH is the new internet. Like, I think that
but inflows matter, right? And so
Yeah,
all the air has been sucked out of the broader crypto market because of the ETH or because of the Bitcoin ETF over the last year. And allocators have been putting funds towards that because it is the most liquid market. It has the most depth. It has the most ability to absorb billions of dollars of inflows. And ETH just doesn't have the same market structure. And so hopefully with the addition of these new ETFs, we'll be able to see a improvement in the market structure of ETH and also inflows as well too that could potentially raise that ETH BTC ratio again. So I think that if next year we're looking at like 0.8 or 0.9, even 0.1 in the ETH BTC ratio, I think that would be probably the most likely point.
Hey guys, I have to drop off. Unfortunately, it's an amazing moment for ETH and for everything. And well, it could go still either way. So let's not cheer too early, and let's see what's going to happen. It's a very interesting sign. It can still go the way of the ETH is a security kind of route, because some of the weird thing that I saw is that all of these yield components are being stripped from these ETFs, because in some of the ETF applications, they also said they wanted to have the ETF and potentially some sort of a staked version of the ETF. I think I'm not 100% clear on what that means, but I would say let's not cheer too early. These people play funny games with us and with the markets, right? So let's be cautious and keep building no matter what happens, I would say. But this is generally good, and I hope that it happens soon, the ETF, right? So it's going to be very exciting.
Hey, so just to take a little break to plug our newest Leviathan.
The biggest news of yesterday, maybe.
Yeah. So we're starting a newsletter here at Leviathan. It's called the Tentacle, and it's oh yeah, have a good one, Dio.
Sorry. Bye, Dio.
Thank you, guys. See you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So the Tentacle is going to be a newsletter that we're publishing by Leviathan contributors. We're going to be on I call it like a daily-ish schedule, really dependent on the amount of time that we all have to contribute for it. And we're going to be writing about news and market commentary. We're going to be publishing interviews here, and we're going to have a lot of exclusive insights and other information that won't be found on the stream. So the newsletter is really an ability for us as Leviathan contributors to put some more thought than just a sentence or two that goes out in the stream into what we want to write. So you can find it at leviathannews.substack.com and come sign up today.
Yeah, and also an amazing way for people who are not necessarily tuning in when we broadcast live, or not necessarily have the time to watch all or listen to all the videos. A great way to catch up on some news. I think I saw the first one yesterday. I think, Sam, you've written it brilliantly. concise, fun, and informative. And no wonder it's already picking up some subscribers. And even I saw that you've opened up the opportunity to be a paid subscriber and actually support our work that way as well. You're muted, Sam. I think you're muted.
So so there will be a free version and the paid version. We're going to give a lot away in the free. That'll be like market commentary and news reporting for like opinions and how to make money. You got to pay for that. So it's just the way things roll.
And also it's just a great way for people to just support. I know that many people like they just subscribe to like these outlets that they enjoy, not even strictly for the gated content, of course, that as well, but sometimes they just want to offer their small support. And I think it's a very great model for us, and I think we can do amazing stuff there. And it's great to be now on Substack as well. Follow us there. What's the address there, by the way, Sam? Maybe we can show it on the screen. It's leviathannews.substack.com, I think, right?
Yes. Cool. Yeah. So I just want to talk about a couple of the news stories that we're covering in today's newsletter, a little bit in depth. So the first one is that Hyperliquid announced that they're going to be supporting a native EVM. This kind of goes in line with this diagram that John Charbonneau has, that apparently when an app gets too big, it needs to launch its own app chain, or in this case, Hyperliquid's going to have its own L1. And
L1 is that? Is it that like an L2?
No, it's an L1. So it's a Hyperliquid L1. It's going to have native EVM support. And so you'll be able to integrate everything that they've built inside of their perpetual DEX already. So Hyperliquid is quite possibly the best performant and fastest growing perpetual DEX out there. They've done some really cool stuff. It's a cool platform. And now they're going to have their layer 1, which people can build on as well too. And this is going to allow people to essentially take everything that is built into the DEX and then use that in their different apps, whether it's for lending or auctions, bridging, yield farming, and you'll have native integration into their perp DEX, which is pretty cool.
Are all these dApps going to become like chains, Sam? What do they actually get when they become a chain, and what's like the price? Because when I think about it, like, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's like they get much more ability like to do stuff and innovate at scale.
Well,
but
you own your
downside is that you have to like make the users come there,
So you own the ecosystem, right? And I think the idea is that you look at Base, you look at Arbitrum, you look at Optimism, and they're all generating incredible revenues through their sequencer fees. And so this type of fee capture, which would normally be going back to ETH, would instead be going to the L1 or L2. And so then that could be passed back to the token holders in the form of revenue. And so I think that's the big selling point for apps themselves, is that you could move your app into its own kind of environment ecosystem, either L1 or L2, and then all the fees that are generated from the revenue of operations by users flow directly back into the token.
So it's a value capture, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's cool. But do you agree that it forces the users, at least these days, like I don't know how it's going to be in the future, but at least these days it kind of forces you to go there. Just for example, if and again, like I think I understand you correctly, like it's just like what Frax did, but then all of a sudden, in order to play the Frax games, you have to like get onto Fraxtal, and that's like an initial barrier at some to some degree. You know what I mean? To actually make the people like migrate your way.
Yeah, I mean that's the hard part. That's the reason that you have to build the app first. It has to become very successful, and then once it's successful, then you can launch your own L2. You can't just launch your own L2 just out of the gate unless you have a huge following.
Yeah, and also like even if you do, I think it's kind of a risk. Like it offers huge, like most things, it offers a huge opportunity, but it comes with a risk because you have to make that capital migrate. Like, and I think that once we have all these interoperability solutions going on to a better degree, then maybe it will just be a seamless process and people won't even know that they, like, if they're on a chain or a dApp or whatever, like they won't care, and liquidity will be everywhere, hopefully. And then I definitely think that I can understand your point.
Yeah. Okay. So also yesterday we had yet another hack. Gala Games was exploited. The exploiter was able to mint $5 billion worth of Gala, which is about $214 million.
Wow, man, this
yeah.
is a huge hack. This is a huge hack. We sometimes report like 2 billion hacks, which is also huge. But you're saying that this is like 240 million worth of Gala?
14, yeah. But really, like, it's the token, right? So they can only they started dumping it back for ETH, and they were able to sell about $500 million worth of Gala for around 20
million.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. How much money did they actually extract, like dollar-wise or ETH-wise?
So Look on Chain has it as 5,952 ETH, so around $21 million worth of ETH.
Man, that's a lot of money.
So Gala quickly noticed the exploit and blacklisted the hacker's address. So all those tokens are essentially stuck on chain now, but they were able to get $22 million worth of ETH.
And what did they use? Tornado Cash?
I don't know. I don't know where the funds have gone yet, but DFW Labs came out and said that they bought about $25 million worth of, 25 million Gala tokens to help stabilize the market. And
why they are investors there?
I don't know. They just bought the dip.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I've never, personally myself, I've never held Gala, although I do remember it from like the previous cycle. I remember that name and the people got excited about it. Something related to like NFTs and stuff. Nah, I'm not really that familiar with it.
Yeah. And then also the Gala president of blockchain also resigned as well too.
First time I'm hearing of a position called president of blockchain, I must say. Okay.
And let's see. The last story that I wanted to go over today is just did you see what Yuga did to the CryptoPunks?
No, I actually haven't.
Okay. So a while back, Yuga bought the IP.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember, but it's good. Like, explain it to the viewers who aren't familiar, actually.
Yeah, so Yuga's just been buying up IP, and the punks were one of them. I think people just didn't want them to do anything at all, but they set up this artist in residency where they invited this woman, Nina Chanel, to make a 500-piece collection. These are, you can see them here.
What, like versions of punks? What is that?
Well, it's supposed to be like a derivative of,
okay.
It's called Punks in Residence. So I think Yuga had the idea that they could use the kind of base idea of punks to invite new artists to come in to create derivatives of them. But there's a lot of backlash to it. So people thought that the brand identity was being diluted. The Yuga was also going to have an auction for them where people could come in and buy them. And I think there was some pushback on that of just trying to extract more money from the market, because I don't think.
What did they think that Yuga is going to do with the IP?
Yeah,
if not extract like more capital, like did they buy it for like as a souvenir of how much they respect punks? By the way, Yuga is the same like entity that's behind the Bored Apes, or am I confusing? Like at least originally.
Yeah. So there was quite a bit of backlash. There was also this here, I'll read it here. So the new punk collection was supposed to blur the lines of race and gender and reflect upon virtual versus real world identities. And I think people took some issue to that.
No way. That's the story? Okay.
Well, that's what that was.
I can understand a lot of the backlash. I would have offered some backlash there myself if I know.
Yeah. So it felt like a dilution. They were going to sell them, which people didn't like as well too, because Yuga's maximum extractor when it comes to NFTs. And so they came out, and Greg, the CEO of Yuga, essentially said that they wanted to preserve the legacy of the collection, and they see the punks as early cave paintings. And so because of the, I guess, backlash to all this, they're just going to not do anything anymore. They're not going to touch punks. They're going to not do the sale of those derivative punks, and they'll probably just do a randomized airdrop.
You know what they should do, in my opinion, actually? They should focus on like merch. They shouldn't focus even on chain with what they with something like punks, because just like punks is like the archetype collection of NFTs. You know, they have their status, and I think that when the guys who made punks decided to sell them, then in hindsight, as they say, I think they did a brilliant like financial decision for themselves. And right now, I'm not sure that Yuga really understands the specific audience that holds punks is so much different than the audience that held apes. You know, it's like the opposite audiences, at least to some degree. And I'm not sure that, like, I think it seems as if Yuga is trying to push like the punks collection to their direction, and it doesn't seem like the community that is actually a punk holder. Like, people who hold these punks, they don't hold them because of Yuga Labs, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's why I think a lot of these like you should just know your audience, in a way, is what I mean. And personally, I think that Yuga has a lot more like opportunity and like capital to extract, and revenue to extract, maybe is the better phrase, by just, like, in my opinion, go for merch. You know how much money you can make if it all becomes fashionable than just selling like t-shirts of this stuff, and like paintings, actual paintings. They shouldn't touch the collection itself in either way. It's like the perfect collection. There is absolutely no way to touch it.
Yeah.
No reason to touch it. I mean, I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, I kind of like the idea of derivatives. Like, if they bring in new artists, but I think it was just the
execution.
Yeah,
the
execution is the best.
Yeah, and also it's about like the narrative. You know what I mean? Like, you can't give these like gender stuff to that audience. That is not an audience that is into it. You know what I mean? Like, doesn't make sense to me, at least.
Yeah, and so we have this comment from Taylor saying that we should show the Nina Chanel response. I don't exactly know where it was. I saw the Decrypt article, but
send it in the comments. Maybe you can share it in the comments, maybe, Ty, and we'll try to share it.
Yeah. So
it's just like these two communities, they don't really like connect and interact. You know, they don't have the same values.
Yeah, so she came back and said, "I'm utterly disgusted with some of the racist, sexist, homophobic, and transphobic comments the controversy around this project has unearthed. What's really at the underbelly of this space. Now more than ever, I will continue my mission toward an inclusive community where everyone is accepted and ideas that spark productive dialogue are welcome. No hate tolerated."
Wow. You want to hear, by the way, if you have time, you want to hear my NFT and all, and the same narrative story before I was DeFi advisor, actually?
Maybe. Let's see.
Maybe it's some other time. Okay.
Okay. Well, we'll leave it at that. I think it was a good space today. Oh wait, we have some. Let me copy this. Let's go see what we got here. Let me try.
I also saw that NFT Nick sold the punk for 42 ETH, and then like a day later or something like that, someone it was resold for 52 ETH.
Oh, really?
So a lot of people were joking about it, of course. On X.
Let me see if I can get this link that OXCGN has posted.
The legend.
yeah, I mean, I just want NFT season to come back. So
Oh, I think that, once capital is starting to flow into the system, then all that kind of stuff will start waking up as well. It's basically like when there's capital in the system and people are taking profit from like specific tokens that they're already in profit for. All of a sudden, it seems like I remember it like myself, like how I used to feel in the previous cycle. All of a sudden, you see this NFT that a month ago there was no chance you were going to buy at that price, and now it's even higher. But you made some money of a specific bag, and you're like, man, I gotta rotate into that NFT or to mint like 10 of these new projects because man, that's gonna be my new for like I think for many people for sure it's gonna be a very interesting experience. And all I can suggest is like do your best to like research and study and fit your investment style to whatever like you can emotionally and rationally handle and cope with.
So I'm pretty sure the link was for these. Let me pull this up. So this is Mike 3. So this is Super Woke World.
Internet can be funny, huh? The internet can be funny sometimes.
I know. All right. Well, that was good. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Make sure to come check out the newsletter. We talked about the Hyperliquid stuff, which I wrote about, but I also dug deep into the Avo. So formerly Ribbon, now Avo.
Wow.
Has a new airdrop campaign.
Guys, this is your opportunity to get some of Sam's writing. I really recommend it. I think that he's one of the best journalists in our space, to be honest. So much respect. I really enjoyed the first one. Already looking forward to seeing the next.
Yeah, and then we're going to have a
news.substack.com. And also remember to check the episodes as well on Spotify, on pods.media. You can mint them, earn some squid. Whatever.
And then we're also going to have a diving into Ion Protocol, which just launched the other day. And seems to be the best place to leverage ETH, LRTs and ETH. So
wow.
Digging into that.
Okay, it sounds like an interesting newsletter already. Let's take it to 1,000 subscribers first of all, and start from there.
We'll get there soon.
Amen, brother. Let's push it, guys. By the way, guys, feel free to assist us with that. Like, if you like the newsletter, share about it, comment on them, subscribe to it, like it. You can also like on Substack and all that. Really pushes the content a lot. When people engage with the content, it's kind of remarkable what can start happening, and it's a lot of fun actually to feel that we're reaching like more people and they're like creating more awareness about stuff that we find as interesting opportunities for all of us.
Oh yeah, and really, just to give a nice story as well too. So the first we got our first paid subscriber yesterday as well too.
Woo!
I reached out to them.
Baby.
I reached out to them, and I gave them 25,000 squid.
Oh my god! First paid subscriber made his okay. He knew what to like. It's like they say, karma, energy. Something. Yeah. I'm sure he didn't expect that, and that was actually a very good move by you. Really happy you did it.
So that was about $400 worth of squid.
No way! Seriously, that's what it was.
Well, I mean, that's what I gave him.
Squid is worth. I'm sorry. Wait a minute.
25,000 squid.
Squid is worth 25,000. Squid is currently worth $400.
Maybe 300. Let me check. On Curve.
Where are you checking, by the way? Where are you checking that thing?
Curve on Fractal.
Oh my god!
So I'll bring the pool. So just to show
these squids swimming in the pool, Sam, with some ETH.
Yeah, so we have the squid pool on Fractal, and I guess let's see. So yeah, 25.
Doesn't the like CoinGecko or something like pulls the price, or how does it go? How do we get the price on different like outlets?
You'll have to use the Curve pools.
Okay.
But squid is here, and you can earn squid for being a contributor to Leviathan News. come join
Yeah.
the Squid Cave and join the Leviathan Squid Bot or Leviathan Bot HQ, and you can help publish the news and earn some squid.
Yeah, submit headlines, offer some interesting guests, or try to connect us with some interesting guests, or really like creative, get some memes going or whatever. Like in any way that you think you want and can contribute and you're interested, feel free to reach out to Leviathan News itself, to us personally, Sam, myself, Garrett, or whoever, and let's do it. We really enjoy like trying to make this as much community driven as possible, and I think it's a lot of fun. And great job with the newsletter, Sam. Excited about it.
Yeah, and thanks everybody for watching at home. It's been great to have you here today. We'll be back tomorrow. We have
Tomorrow we have something.
I have an afternoon guest, but we'll see if it's a live stream or if it's just a regular recording. So we'll be back tomorrow, and thanks for tuning into Leviathan News.